eukaryotic animals, if you look over here, there is a specific membrane outside this, and this is called as nucleus. So your genetic material is basically wrapped or enclosed inside the nucleus. Clear? So this is the main difference between the eukaryotic cell and the prokaryotic cell. Okay, let's start with it. Uh, what do you think, which are the oldest or the ancient organism, the most ancient organism on this earth? The bacteria. So these are the ones which have simplified organelles, which have, you can say, lesser organelles. So if we talk about the prokaryotic cells, so they have DNA, we just mentioned they have the genetic material. What else they have? They have this plasma membrane, or you can say the cell wall, okay? Plasma membrane. What else do they have? Look at this diagram. So here is a tail-like thing present. This is called as flagella, but it is present in very few organisms, not all prokaryotes. Only few prokaryotes have this flagella. Okay, okay. Then what else it have? There is a liquid inside the cell, and this liquid is known as cytoplasm. Okay. And the last thing, because they need proteins, you can see the organelles inside them. These small thing or particles are called as ribosomes. Okay. So there are 4 to 5 things which you need to remember in the structure of the prokaryotic cell. The cell wall, basically, the genetic material, cytoplasm, ribosomes. Okay, the similar things are also present in the eukaryotic cell. There are small particles, can you see over here? These smaller particles are ribosomes. Their function is same. They make proteins, and we will later discuss what is their function, okay? Then it has cell membrane or plasma membrane. These have the nucleus. The genetic material is wrapped inside nucleus. The liquid which is present over here is called cytoplasm. Okay, there are additional organelles as well in this, which are not present in the other one. Okay, these are all membrane bounded. If you look at this yellow thing, this is bounded by a membrane. Then this thing, this one is also membrane bounded, right? So we say that in eukaryotes, the organelles, okay, the smaller part is called as organelles. Organ and organelles. So organelles are, yeah, membrane bounded organelles. The small parts or the parts of cells is double L. Okay. This part of cells are called organelles. So they have membrane bounded organelles. If we talk about the chloroplast, which makes the because this is the animal cell, it doesn't have the chloroplast. So chloroplast is also membrane bounded. Okay. Okay. Um, let's discuss the structure of bacteria in detail. Okay, do you have any idea about the size of bacteria? Very small, like any unit or any value? So they are almost 1 micrometer or 10 micrometer. They range from 1 micrometer to 10 micron meter. So micron meter means 10 raised to power minus 6, means 0.00050 and then 1. Okay? Okay. So if we look at the cell, they have given us this the genetic material, the cell wall, the plasma membrane, and then ribosomes. Okay, this is the simplest diagram given. Okay, do you want to ask something about this prokaryote? Because I have few questions then. Do you want to ask something? No? Okay, okay. Plasma membrane. Okay, the functions of these. Good question, by the way. Let's discuss the function of these, all these. The cell wall It is harder as compared to plasma membrane, and it provides the protection and strength, or you can say the shape, to the cell. The plasma membrane is softer as compared to the cell wall. Let me give you an example. You are living in a room, okay? So you have walls. Those are made up of bricks. So consider those bricks as cell wall, okay? Then the internal walls are sometimes have the wallpaper or some kind of coating. So that coating is plasma membrane, which is a bit softer one. Okay, that is plasma membrane. Then your room must be filled with air. Now here the cell is filled with a liquid, that is cytoplasm. Okay, it's consider it as a pool, the pool that is filled with water, or the pool that is filled with cytoplasm. Okay, then ribosomes are there. Ribosomes make proteins. Yeah. Okay, any other question? No. Okay, so we just discussed earlier in the start of the lesson that these are the unicellular ones, right? Can they live in a group? Yes, they live in group, but each cell perform its own function. One cell is not dependent on the others. Like humans, we our cells are like working together. Our one cell is not able to perform all functions. Is it so? The the stomach, it cannot pump blood, and heart cannot digest. But here in unicellular, the single cell is capable of doing all functions, and they are quite simple one. Okay, let's talk about the eukaryotic one and its parts. The parts are almost same. Only there are certain things that we should discuss. Oh, sorry, it's very small. Let me shift it here. Okay, this one is the animal cell. Okay, the difference in animal and plant cell we discussed later. So we discussed that cell wall is present in the bacterial cell, but in animal cell there is no cell wall. Okay, but it has plasma membrane, which controls the movement of materials. Let me write, controls the movement. Now what is meant by this? Your room must have a door, right? So your door is controlling the movement of people that are coming in or out, or going out. Okay, so this one, this membranes, it has channels, or it has small openings from where the materials can enter or exit. Sorry, the smaller particles can easily enter, like water. Cells need water, so water can easily enter. But if you talk about the bigger molecules like the sucrose or the glycogen, they cannot enter the plant. The protein cannot directly enter the plant or cell and enter the cell. Why? Because the pore size, or you can say the door, is very small for the bigger molecules to enter. So it controls the movement of things. Okay. Then next thing is the ribosome. Ribosome we have discussed already. Ribosome is the protein synthesis one. They involve in the production of protein, and then this protein move out of the cell for various functions. Like there are many, your like antibodies are made up of proteins, your enzymes are made up of proteins. Do you have any idea what are antibodies? Yes. No? Okay. When you got some infection, your body produces white blood cells, right? Okay. Those white blood cells produce a special type of protein called as antibody, which actually fight against the germs. Okay? Okay. bounded nucleus, then membrane bounded organelles. Okay, these membrane bounded organelles are also the one which controls, which produces energy in your body. This pink one, it produces energy in your body. The pink ones, the organelles, basically, the membrane bounded organelles. Their name is mitochondria, by the way. Okay? Okay. Let's move to some. Okay, we haven't discussed their size as we've discussed over there. So their size is bigger as compared to the prokaryotic one. Their size is almost 10 to 100 micrometer. 10, oh, size is 10, 10 to 100 micron meter. Okay. Do you want to ask any question? Okay. Are these eukaryotic cells, multicellular or unicellular? Are these most of the time they are multicellular, sometimes very rare cases they are unicellular. For example, yeast. Have you heard about yeast? Okay, yeast is unicellular. All other fungi are multicellular. Like mushroom is also a fungi. It's a multicellular. Okay. Have you heard of the name amoeba? There were like cartoons as well. No? Okay. So amoeba is also like one of the eukaryotic unicellular organism. It is also present in uncleaned or contaminated water and can cause diseases in humans related to digestion. Okay, okay. Let's talk about the cytoplasm. Okay, we have discussed the plasma membrane, that what is plasma membrane and how it controls the movement in and out of the cell. Okay, so plasma membrane is the one which is okay. What is plasma membrane? Okay, we discussed the function, but we haven't discussed what is it made up of. It is made up of phospholipid bilayer. Let me just here plasma membrane. Let me make a structure. So there are two layers. They are like this. The layer is like this. The structure is like this. These are not tiny humans, but this is the structure. And then there is lower layer. Okay. So why this layer is so? The one part is phosphate part and the other part is lipid part. So it is made up of phospholipids. What is it made up of? Phospholipids. Okay, and because there are two layers, so we call it a phospholipid bilayer. Is this thing clear? No? Okay, there are two layers. Okay, there are two layers of phospholipid which are facing toward each other. There are two layers, one up and one down, and they're facing toward each other just like your palms, the inner palms. They're facing to each other, right? What are they doing? They're just there to support the cell. Okay. Okay, then they have additional something. For example, everybody doesn't have a permission to enter your room, right? And the cell plasma membrane is a room. Now, if somebody wants to enter your room, he or she may ask your parents to help us let into the room. Or your sister want to enter the room, you don't allow her. So she asks your parents, let me in the house. So there are certain proteins which actually allow some of the molecules to enter, which are like bigger in size or which cannot enter on their own. Then they need certain proteins which are present in the plasma membrane. They take help from these proteins to enter the cell. Do not get the idea? Got it? Okay. So it's a phospholipid bilayer and it controls the movement in and out of the cell since it allow only few substances to pass through. So there is a word for this which is called as selective permeable. Okay, we call it selective permeable, or you may heard of the name the partially permeable membrane. Are you getting my point? Okay. If we talk about cell wall is not selective permeable. It is fully permeable. It allow everything to enter. It is the main gate of your house, allowing everyone to enter. But this plasma membrane is the door of your room. It allows only few people to enter. Clear? Okay. Okay. Let's move to the next part, the cytoplasm. Okay. Oh, let me change the pen. Let's write in blue now. Okay. Cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is basically a jelly-like substance in the cell in which the organelles are floating. As I've told you, it's just like a pool, the water is everywhere. It's a gel-like water-based fluid. Okay, it contains all the organelles. Organelles are floating in it. Moreover, what's important about this, many chemical reactions takes place in it. Okay, your cell is capable of performing many functions. As I've told you that these mitochondria, the pink parts, these are producing energy in your body. So energy is produced by some chemical reaction. The chemical reactions takes place in cytoplasm. Okay, sorry. Yes, all cells have cytoplasm. It's a liquid that fills the whole cell. It's a liquid, a gel-based water liquid, water basically, water-based fluid. Okay, what is its importance? First of all, it contains all the organelles. Number two, it is a place where chemical reaction occurs. Okay. Okay, the second important thing is the cytoskeleton. Why is cytoskeleton important? Okay, if you look at this diagram, you can see these lines, the very small lines. These are cytoskeletons. These one. Okay, what is the function of cytoskeleton? As the name is indicating, it's a skeleton. It provides shape and structure to the cell. Okay, so let me write here. What is the function? The shape and structure. Okay, why are they needed? How do they maintain it? During cell division, they form like a network. They form a network in the cell and helps the nucleus to divide properly. Okay, so it helps in cell division. So for example, if this is a cell, they arrange themselves in a form of a spindle. They arrange very neatly. Okay, and then they divide the nucleus evenly into two parts. Okay, half here, half here. Okay, so it helps in cell division. Moreover, their skeleton, they are helpful in cell movement. Many cells can move. I'm not talking about a single cell of animal or plant, but we know that amoeba can move. We know that bacteria move because of flagellum. We know that the perimysium can move. We know that euglena can move. Many animals can move. So this all the cytoskeleton help in the cell movement. Moreover, they transport many substances as they form like a network in the cell. Okay. Um, the next part is, let's discuss nucleus first and then we'll discuss the ribosome. Okay, let's move to the nucleus. Nucleus is the one organelle? It's a membrane bounded organelle which contains DNA. Good. It contains DNA. And DNA stands for, okay, deoxy. Say after me. Deoxy ribo acid. Okay, good. Okay. Um, so the genetic material control all the characteristics. Even the genetic material also decide what type of protein should be formed inside the cell. Okay. It decides the type of protein to be formed. It controls the cell division. It controls the cell activity. So basically it's the brain of cell. You can say it's the brain of cell. It controls everything. Controls cell activities. Okay. So during cell division, what happens? The membrane, it disappear, and the nucleus is converted into a very thick thing called as chromosomes. Yes. Cell division. When one cell divides into two. Okay. Okay. The chromosomes. What are chromosomes? Okay. You can just take an example. You might have some wire with you. Take that wire. That wire is a single thing. That is your um, basically what the DNA. Okay. If you keep in rolling it, just roll it, roll it, roll it, roll it, it form a very compact structure. That compact structure is known as chromosomes. Okay, it's just like a long thread. Now you start to roll the thread. That rolled thing is called as chromosomes. So during cell division, when the cell is divided, the nucleus basically converts into, or the DNA basically transforms into chromosomes. Okay. Okay, the next one, the last one, the ribosomes. Let's have a look at the cell again. If you look carefully with the nucleus, there is a certain network present. This one, right? A network with nucleus. This network is known as endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, these are quite difficult terms, I know, but it's same with like chemistry, you'll get it from practice. Okay, there are ribosomes attached on these endoplasmic reticulum. Some ribosomes, they float freely, but some are attached to this network. Okay, so this network is known as rough endoplasmic reticulum because they have the small particles of ribosomes. Okay, the function of ribosome you know very well, it's protein synthesis. Okay, um, let's move to the other parts. Okay, I guess we should not discuss all parts in one lesson. That would be really tough for you then. Or would it be really okay if I like tell you all the parts in one lesson? Are you sure it's okay? Okay. Okay, the next part is then the let's discuss the mitochondria and chloroplast. Okay. So I have told you that there are the pink structures, right? Okay. These pink structures are basically the double membranes, the mitochondria. Let me draw it for you. Okay. There is an outer membrane, okay? And then there is an inner membrane which is folded and they look like this. So there are two membranes, the outer membrane and the inner folded membrane. Okay. Its function is to make energy, produces energy. Sorry. Yes, you can tell. Sorry, I didn't get it. That need to function. Okay. Um, the process is known as cellular respiration. So, okay, it produces energy with the help of process known as cellular respiration. Okay. Do you have any idea about this? What happens in cellular respiration? Okay. I want you to tell. Okay. So basically, the sugar breaks down in the presence of oxygen. Sugar breaks down with the help of oxygen that we inhale. Okay? Like glucose breakdown plus glucose plus oxygen. There is a chemical reaction. Then there is a production of water and carbon dioxide along with lots of energy. Okay? Then there is another part which is not present in animal but only in plant cells. That one is known as chloroplast. It's a food factory for plant. What process occur in that? What process produces food? Oh, sorry. The process which produces food in plants. It's a very common name. You must know the name. The process which produces food in plant. Okay, sunlight. What will happen with sunlight then? Okay, photosynthesis. It's photosynthesis. So sunlight is captured by the chloroplast, and that chemical. Okay, oh, sorry. The sun energy is converted into the chemical energy which is captured in food basically. Okay. Okay. Uh, what else part is left? I guess we are done with all parts. Oh yes, we haven't done one part, which is the Golgi body. The Golgi body. Okay. You haven't heard this name earlier? No? Okay, let's discuss this then. Okay, this is the cell. We have discussed that with the nucleus there is a network present, and on this network there are small particles attached, and it is called as rough endoplasmic reticulum. We have learned this already, right? That with nucleus there is a network, and that network is rough due to presence of ribosomes. Okay. Then there is another network which has no ribosome. Okay. This is called as smooth because there is nothing on it. It's very smooth. It's very plain. That one is smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Okay. So the rough endoplasmic reticulum, it makes proteins, while smooth endoplasmic reticulum involves in the fat synthesis in the plant. There is a lot of fat synthesis. Okay. Oh, okay. Do you know that our body is capable of making fats? Okay. So how fat is made, this is the function. Okay, the second function of this endoplasmic reticulum or the smooth endoplasmic reticulum is to detoxify the drugs or detoxify the medicines that we take in. Me Detoxification mean to convert the toxic substances into the less harmful substances. So there is a chemical reaction which convert, let me write, detoxification. Our liver does the detoxification for us as well. So the toxic substances or toxic things that are not good for our body, they're converted into the things which are okay for our body, not harmful at all. Then there are, okay, for example, if we are taking in aspirin, let's say, okay, the Disprin or the whatever, the actually chemical name is aspirin for the painkiller. So the painkiller is going to be broken in our system, right, in digestive system. So it's a chemical, right? It's need it is needed to be detoxified after it is used. So there would be a chemical reaction which converts this substance into something which is not harmful for our body. You know it very well that we cannot take painkillers without prescription. It's not good for our health. Or if, though this example seems to be awkward, but in biology we can give this example, like the alcohol. Alcohol is really harmful for our body parts. So alcohol is detoxified by the liver, broken down. Detoxify mean the broken down into the simpler substances. Okay. Then there is another one, which is known as the Golgi body, and the parts of Golgi body are called as vesicles. These vesicles are broken down from the Golgi body. They help in transporting the material. They take material from here, this part, to another part or another part of the cell. The transportation. Okay. Yes, we need them as a eukaryotic organism. We need the Golgi bodies. They actually transport the things. Now, what is their actual role? Let's discuss Golgi body in like detail. How do they do this? For example, these ribosomes, they produce some type of protein in your body or in your cell, right? Okay, that protein needs to be transported. Vesicles do it. Okay, vesicles do this. They transport the protein, or sometimes they also have the capability of modifying it or change, like chemical modification. What do they do? They help in the modification and transport of protein. Okay, basically they help in the transport. Okay. um, I guess we have discussed all the organelles, like all the organelles. Let me just recall. We have done the cell wall. It provides the strength. It provides the protection to the cell. We have discussed the cell membrane, which controls the movement in and out of the cell. Then we discussed the nucleus, which is the brain of the cell, control all the activities. Then we have discussed the cytoplasm, where the chemical reactions are taking place. Then we discussed the ribosome, which helps in the protein synthesis. Then there is rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum, which have their own function. Like the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, uh, it synthesizes fats and also help in the detoxification of the substances. Then there is Golgi body, which modifies and transport the protein. Then if we move to like the energy production one, then mitochondria are there, which produces energy by cellular respiration. And in plants, there is chloroplast present, which captures the sunlight and make food by photosynthesis. So there is only one organelle which we haven't discussed, but they are like part of animal cell. That is a vacuole. Okay. So let's discuss the vacuole. We are left with one. The vacuole. What is vacuole? Simple. In animal cells, they are quite small and they help in the transportation of waste material. But in plant cell, it is very important, like very, very important. Okay. This is the plant cell. There is a very big vacuole in it. What does it do? It stores water. We know very well that plants need water for making for the process of photosynthesis for making food, right? And if water is not present in the plant, it would wilt, it would die. So keep it firm and erect, they should have water in their vacuole. This vacuoles, it maintains the turgidity. Turgidity means keeps the plant firm. If a plant is firm, looking very fresh, it means the cell are turgid. It has a turgidity. If looks flaccid, wilted, or really off, it means it doesn't have water in their vacuole. Okay? So vacuole store the water and keeps the plant firm. Okay. Now I have few questions for you since we have discussed so many uh, organelles. Let's uh, have a lit quiz. Shall we? Okay. Okay. Question number one is you have to match each cell part with its function. What is the function of cytosol? What is the function of nucleus? And what is the function of smooth endoplasmic reticulum? Nucleus is the first one. Okay, what does nucleus do? Contains genetic material. Okay. Cytosol is. Okay. What does cytosol do? Cytosol is basically the cytoplasm. It's the last one. Okay. And what about smooth endoplasmic reticulum? It makes fats. Another name of fats is lipids. Okay. Okay. Another one matching for you. What is the function of chloroplast, the ref endoplasmic reticulum, and cytoskeleton? The last one, the photosynthesis one. Okay. Reticulum. Okay. It makes protein. And what does cytoskeleton do? Maintain structure and internal, okay, organization. That is cytoskeleton. Okay. Okay. Let's move to the next one. You have to tell the part of cell or the organelle which do or perform these functions. Okay. What modifies and sort molecules for transport? Which organelle modify and transport the proteins? We have discussed this. Yeah, what's the name? It's Golgi body or the okay Golgi body. Okay, what contains what contains the genetic information? What encodes the genetic information? DNA. Good. What regulates the exit and entry of cell? The door of your room. What is that? What controls the entry into and out of your room? What controls the entry into what allows the substances to enter the cell or leave the cell? Not remember? plasma membrane or cell membrane? Okay. This is made up of phospholipid bilayer. I guess we need to revise it one more time. We'll just have a quick review of this one. Okay, the last question for today. You have to tell the name of like these parts. Oh, I've done the first one by mistake. Okay, the cell part that transport molecule within the cell are called as vesicles. The cell part that build the cell protein. What build the cell protein? Ribosomes. The cell part that generates usable energy. Mitochondria. Okay, great. So, okay, I'm sending you this PDF. Just go through it. Let me just give you this PDF. Sport, the PDF. It's about cell. Okay, I'm sending this document in the chat. Okay, do tell me whether you get it or not, because you need to go through it and you need to explain me like what, like you need to summarize it, okay, by reading it. This like I'm not like testing you on the base like how much knowledge you have gained. Just revise what we have done. Okay, just give me a minute. I'm just uploading it. Topic is sent. Okay, just check whether you have received it or not. Ayub, have you got it? No, not yet. Okay, okay. So before you open it and start setting, I have few more questions for you regarding the prokaryotic cell and the eukaryotic cell. Okay, this is regarding the eukaryotic cell. In eukaryotic cell, the nucleus, DNA, and ribosomes are most directly involved in which process? Just now I've told you, the nucleus is the brain. It controls the synthesis of like the type of what? You there? Okay. What do ribosomes do? Okay, you know the function of ribosomes. Yeah, what's the function? Protein synthesis. So yes, nucleus decides what type of protein is formed, and ribosomes are going to make proteins. Okay? Okay. Okay, let's label it. What is present on what is labeled, what should be labeled on left? What is this whole thing called? Nucleus, the top left, right, top right. DNA, good. The below the is the smaller particles. What are these parts? Ribosomes. Okay. Shall I give you one more? Like, it's bit tough or a new diagram for you, but I hope you'll be able to decode this diagram. It's a eukaryotic cell, okay? You and we have to label it. It's different from what we have done today. Let's see, will you be able to do this or not? Okay, the topmost. Okay, what if they are not ribosomes? Think. They help in the transportation of things into and out of the cell. Vesicles. Okay, what are these bodies called that help in the transportation? Yeah, the Golgi bodies. Okay, what are these network present with the network present outside the nucleus? What is the network outside the nucleus present on which ribosomes are present? Think again. It's a network on which ribosomes are present, which making it little bit what? Yeah, making it little bit what? It gives it a which texture? The rough texture. So it is rough endoplasmic reticulum. Okay. So I've given you the notes. What you need to do for like 1 week, you can divide the topics and you can repeat it, you can revise it, and on like next Wednesday, I'm going to take a like little test from you first of all. A little test. Or like I'll test your knowledge, what you have like revised in the whole week. It would be like 5 to 10 minutes on quizzes. Okay? We'll have a live test. Would it be okay? Yeah, from there. Yes, on screen. It would be easy. It would be easy. Don't worry. If you revise, then it would be easy for you. Okay. The next one. Okay. In which processes do ER, endoplasmic reticulum, the Golgi bodies, and vesicle, they all have the similar function? What is their function? It's A, the modification one. Okay. I guess this is the last question. Oh, no, we cannot have this question. No. Okay. So this is all for today. Okay. Do you have any question, any remark, or do you want to add in